Is the US involved? Are they connected to all the chaos? Time for people to truly think and put things together and question the actions of the government of the US. Here is a short clip from Garland Nixon's video regarding neocons and regional war. Links will be below and highly suggest people to watch it fully and consider the actions the US government has taken.
This concept of a regional war, the concept of the U.S. trying to, we're having this talk. The Biden administration is trying to stop this thing in the Middle East from spreading to a regional war. Okay, let's start here. The United States has ships in the area, has troops on the ground, has using intelligence assets, right? And providing weapons, providing intelligence. So the United States is, in fact, the Biden administration is, in fact, involved in the assault on Gaza. No question about that. As an example, if I give someone a gun, if someone says, I'm going to shoot, whoever, that person over there, and I say, here's a gun, here's the bullets, here's where they are, here, let me help you, what time they'll be there, let me help you aim. If you need more bullets, I'll give you more bullets. If you need a ride to the crime scene, I'll give you a ride to the crime scene. It is preposterous to argue that I am not a part of the team that committed the murder, right? So clearly the U.S. is involved. And might I add, the exact same things are going on in Ukraine. So the U.S. is doing two things. They've got a proxy war. Proxy, I don't know how proxy it is, but let's just call it a proxy war in Ukraine. And of course, the Israel is in fact a U.S. imperial outpost, a military outpost. So since I consider it, and many people consider it, just a U.S. military outpost in the Middle East, the U.S. military outpost is involved. People are like, Israel, is the U.S. going to help Israel? Not help Israel? Are we helping Israel? The reality is, Israel is a U.S. military outpost, and the United States is. The outpost, the U.S. outpost, is fighting in an assault on a civilian area. And the U.S. is, in fact, not sponsoring that, intricately involved. Part of it, it's the U.S. imperial outpost. The U.S. imperial outpost is fighting. It's the U.S. empire. Now, there's talk about, is this war going to spread? Will it spread? Well, let's look here. The Ansar Allah in Yemen has pretty much declared that they're involved. And they fired missiles at U.S. ships, apparently, and drones. They fired missiles and drones at Israel. They have now taken an Israeli ship. So has it spread? Well, we know that the Yemen is involved. In Syria, there are various private PMUs, they call them private military units or whatever. There are various militias. They're involved in assaulting U.S. bases. The U.S. is fighting back against them. The U.S. is, and let's be honest, it's the same thing as in Israel, in that the U.S. is illegally occupying Syria, and the illegal occupation is being fought by the indigenous people, right? So Israel's illegally occupying Palestine. And it is being, whether you call it legal or illegal, whatever, it's an occupation under international law. So the United States is illegally occupying Syria. The indigenous people are fighting back against the illegal occupation of U.S. bases in Syria. So we know that Yemen is involved, right? The country of Yemen involved. And the U.S. is fighting in that Red Sea area. We know that the U.S. is fighting with various militias in Syria. The U.S. bases in Iraq are being attacked, which means that the U.S. is fighting with various militias in Iraq, right? Can anybody argue that this war hasn't spread throughout the Middle East? We're using the rhetoric. Will it spread around the Middle East? Could it spread around the Middle East? We're trying to stop it from spreading around the Middle East. The fact of the matter is, the U.S. empire is fighting in Palestine. The U.S. empire is fighting in Syria. Illegal occupation. The U.S. empire is fighting in Iraq, illegal occupation. The United States empire is fighting the Yemen Ansar Allah. And the only reason the U.S. isn't fighting in Afghanistan is because the U.S. ain't in Afghanistan anymore. Because if the U.S. was in Afghanistan, they'd be fighting the various military outfits there would be attacking U.S. bases.